Hey folks, today we're going to be doing something I've been putting off for a long time, which is relocating a G4 Bullet that used to be installed right here. This is the first Unifi camera I ever put in the house here. It's got an Ethernet drop all the way back to my server rack, but unfortunately it's been kind of rendered obsolete for a couple reasons. So I've got this Unifi G4 doorbell installed, which obviously covers a lot of the camera angle here, and I've also got another G4 Bullet right here on the side of the house that covers more than what this camera could have ever seen in the first place. So here you can see the field of view that thing had, and in fact the last thing it saw was me coming to take it down. As compared to what the doorbell sees, plus that other one on the side of the house, those two combined are just a better setup. And every spring I'm doing battle with birds that get in here and figure out how to live up in here. And this year they learned how to actually sleep on that camera and crap all over it and everything. So yeah, unfortunately, time for it to go. So what we're going to do today is reposition this G4 Bullet over here to the other side of the driveway so that I can get an angle coming from a direction I'm not covering today. And I'll bring you along as we drill a hole in the house and run a bunch of Cat 6, do some crimping and testing and all that, and I'll show you the setup inside the garage. Let's get into it. Alright, here's the setup. I'm in the garage that camera's going to be mounted against. And way in the back, I've got this Unifi in-wall HD thing. And so this is actually a wireless access point, PoE powered. So this thing's being powered by the line going back to the 48 port PoE switch in the rack. And it'll pass through one PoE line. It's actually got a few more ports over here. It's really good for like an office or something, but I've got it in here. It's passing through that, and you'll see it pop out there, head up. And of course we've got another G4 Bullet up here covering the garage inside. So I need two PoE ports now. I'm gonna power the camera on the other end of the garage out of this jack, and we're gonna switch over to one of these PoE extenders. So this will take PoE in, be powered over PoE, don't need to plug it into an outlet or anything, and it'll give me 4 more PoE powered outlets. And I wanna say, if you're ever as fortunate enough to be in the position to plan out where these are going to go, you know, you're doing a new build like this was, or a remodel, just double what you think you need. Over plan up front, over provision. This is the second time, in fact, I've needed to use one of these in a very similar setup. And so, yeah, if I had sent 2 or 3 drops to each outlet, or at least a few of them, like the garage here, I wouldn't need to be messing around with this stuff. And so basically what we need to do is get a line from there all the way. I'm going to run it along the foundation edge through here. And on the other side of that wall is where the camera's going to go. So obviously I need to get all this crap out of the way so we can get to work. And then we'll run the line. We'll deal with our camera here, unfortunately. And then we'll start getting things hooked up. I'll bring you along. All right, got enough of the stuff out of the way to do what we need to get done. I'm going to pull it from this direction. Hopefully this has enough cable in it. I've done quite a few projects with it. And I'm gonna tie it down with these little guys here. I keep a lot of them on hand. I seem to always be doing projects like this. So yeah, let's get that done. Got it going to there, went pretty good. It's not perfect, but doesn't really need to be. I was kind of dreading this for some reason, but it took me all of 3 minutes to get done. Comes out here, give myself plenty of extra room, so we'll pull this thing out and get this thing mounted underneath instead. All right, let's see if I remember how to take this thing off. I think it just clips off. Unplug that first. And it just pries off. I feel like you're breaking it. So this thing's pretty nice, but if I'm being honest, the Wi-Fi out here is completely fine. So I don't even need it. And I need more ports, so we're switching. And we need some screws in there. They're long as a... warm. There it is. Plugs into this special plate, and you plug it in like any normal item. Be right back. Okay, so here's the original punch down jack. I just used this little pigtail, plug them in, so I didn't have to mess with this. I think I have the plate for this. I tend to keep everything, so let me go dig that out. Found it, and look at that. I was even smart enough to tape the screws to it. A little more trouble than I bargained for. I'm sure I've destroyed those punch down connections. We'll find out. All right, this guy came with a couple little brackets, so I'll put those on. And I think I'm just gonna mount him on the wall, you know, somewhere around there, and then I'll route my 2 lines into it. These screws are ridiculously small. All right, and because it'll reach, we might as well crimp this while I can stand here and do it, because we're gonna be doing the next one on a ladder. So, there's 2 different common patterns to put the wires in, A and B. This is just Cat 6 cable, so nothing special here. You can see, maybe it's on there. I think this house is mostly A, maybe B. No, it's B. So usually I stick with B. You don't have to, but just for consistency's sake, I do that. These little clippers are great when you're doing stuff like this, so you can get rid of this inner tubing. First thing I do is I get all the pairs that I care about straightened out and kind of move in the same direction together. One thing that helps is to kind of push them back and forth like that in your fingers to make them straight. So let's see, we want orange, then green. So as I add more colors into the line that I want to crimp, I'm always kind of doing this motion with my hands to make them bend together all in the same direction. And it kind of keeps things from going crazy on you. They are not playing nice today. Hopefully this is not foreshadowing for when I'm on the ladder. All right, and then before you get ahead of yourself, I always forget this, you got to put the boot on first, and that's of course going to mess up some of your progress, but that's okay. That. All right, and then I highly recommend these guys, these push-through style. So as you'll see, actually, let me make things a little tidier first, make my life easier. And we'll push them through all the way, just like that. I'm going to check that they are where I want them to be. They're not. so close, yet so far. All right, I'm happy with that. Then you just throw it in the crimper. And I'll slide that boot on once I know it's working. All right, here it is. Got it mounted. I was able to get one of these drywall screws in a stud, so this one's not, but it's not going anywhere, and if it does, it's not going to hurt anyone. This is coming from the jack up top that we just reinstalled. This is going to the camera that's in the ceiling. You can see they're blinking away. I confirmed that it is indeed working again. So now let's clean up the camera and get it installed. All right, so I'm not usually one for wearing gloves while I work, but it seems like the right time. This thing got pretty beat up by those damn birds. So this piece here, not too bad, just a little part. I actually have another one of these, never used. Haven't decided what I'm going to do with it yet. I could just throw that one in there, but I told myself, man, if I don't clean this now, I'm never going to. So I'm just going to do it and get it reinstalled. I think I'm just going to blast it with brake clean. See how we do here. Ah, barbecue degreaser. That's the trick for bird poop on your Unifi camera, if you're curious. All right, so I think this breakage here has nothing to do with the birds. This thing's been outside for 2.5 years. I think that plastic got brittle. I wouldn't have expected that. This wasn't in the weather. I mean, you saw it was under the porch. It probably never even got wet, aside from the birds. I don't know, maybe they break down plastic. This little thing came off. I'm just not going to worry about it. I want to say you can buy replacements for these little things. I can't remember though. I'm just going to install it the way it is. Maybe I'll try to snap that back in there. I'll get this wiped off with Windex or something. And yeah, we're missing one more piece, the mounting bracket to the wall. So let's go take care of that. All right, so there's where the camera used to be. And you can see that mounting bracket, and I've just taped it up because the Ethernet cable's in there. And I'm gonna replace it with one of these plastic weatherproof boxes. And then of course I'll unplug the other end from the network rack. So yeah, let me get up there and take care of that. This is what I meant about that bracket and that it's just an Ethernet jack hanging down and why I want to put a case over it. All right, so that's done. Total overkill, but you know, looks nice, I think. You know, obviously I care about the aesthetics in here. But anyway, it'll still be usable. Kind of a shame to abandon it. I chose that one specifically when we designed the house, but yeah, you try things out and you learn, and I don't need that one anymore. All right, now we're gonna drill a hole in the side of my house. I want to put it right in that corner up there against the wall. It's 128 inches up. We might be using the big guy, but I measured it and it should poke a hole out just above that top cap there. So I'll drill in from the outside and bring you back. See that in there? There it is. That wasn't fun, folks. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's the drill hanging off. That's where it'll be. I'll tie the cable to the other end and pull it through. All right, here's what it looks like up here. I've run it up here, give myself a very generous service loop. Always do this, give yourself slack. They're usually called service loops because when you need to come back and move something around and service it, you have a loop of wire to help you do that. Goes all the way down there, as you would expect. So I was thinking I was gonna have to tape the end of this cable to here and pull it back through. And I'm kind of looking at this hole and I don't think I'm going to need to do that. Can't remember why I needed to do that on the other garage. So I'm going to pull the drill out and try to push this through. This is luxurious. I'm going to be able to crimp it from the ground. That's what I'm going to do next. All right, that went pretty well. Pro tip, put that stupid grommet Unifi gives you on before you do the crimp. I always forget. So I have one end of a tester on here. And then you take the other end. We'll plug it in down here. Pass. That means that line is good. My 2 crimped ends are good to go. I can take this out, put it back in the splitter, and we can plug a camera in there and see how it looks. All right, so the way I like to install these cameras is I get up on the ladder, if it's a high enough camera, and I pull out the app that the camera came with. So in my case, it's the Unifi, Protect app, and I'm looking at what the camera's looking at. And this was a kind of a tricky situation because it's staring right at my ladder. So it's the only way I could get up here. The ladder had to be here based on where the camera was. And so what I'm doing here is I'm walking up the ladder, I'm repositioning the camera, I'm looking at my phone, I'm crawling back down, I'm moving the ladder out of the way, and so on and so on. And so I do this a couple times. And basically I do this to see, if I like where the camera's positioned, and finally I find a spot where I like it. There's the finished product. Very happy with that. And just have the service loop sitting up in there. No big deal. Hopefully I'll never touch it. All right, so let's have a look at our accomplishments here in Unifi Protect. Log in here to the UNVR. All right, we're in Protect here. I realized I didn't say a lot at the beginning about, my setup. So I've got a Unifi setup just like every other person on YouTube, but I have been pretty satisfied with it. Quite a few cameras running, and I've been doing it for almost 3 years. I've got the UNVR with 3 drives in it, I think. So that's basically what's storing all this information. And so let's take a look at, where we were. So I have the doorbell camera. That's covering basically everything that G4 Bullet that was on the ceiling of the porch that we just relocated was covering. So anything that couldn't see, this other one that's called driveway. See that lightning? Got a real banger storm going on right now. Anyway, it can see that. So what I couldn't see is what we just set up. So look at all this. So I can see the other direction now. And it's called porch. Let's go change it. I think we go devices. So it used to be, this is so sad to me. Like, this is the first camera I think I ever set up. And yeah, I think we got to call it driveway 2. Yeah, is what it is. And let's go look at them all again. So yeah, this is the new angle we set up today in the video. I'm not exactly excited about the glare right there. I think I'm probably gonna move it more towards the right and see more of that. I've got a couple more G4 Bullets. So yeah, I got overly excited when these came back in stock, like, I don't know, six months to a year ago. I've got 2 more of these. I think I'm going to point them down the sides of the house. And if I ever end up setting that up, I'll definitely make a video. But yeah, thanks for following along as always, and I'll see you in the next one.